Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Canary Guys podcast. This is episode 2. I'm here with the boys. Can you believe we've made it another week, lads?
This is the longest running podcast in Norwich City history, so I'm happy.
Yeah, must be already. We're already at one episode, and we're now doing the second one, so we must be there.
We must be doing something right at least because people did like it and want us back.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah, we want to start the podcast off. We've all agreed on this by talking about the last episode and the support that we had on it, which, to be honest, was absolutely fantastic. We weren't sure how good it was going to go. We sort of put it out on Twitter a little bit late to see kind of where we got with it. We're nearly at 500 views on the podcast. We've got about 50 followers on Twitter now. It's building up quite nicely. So I just want to thank everyone for all the support on the pod, all the nice feedback that we've received. And I'm sure the boys will agree with me as well.
Yeah, so thanks to everyone. I didn't think it would be this big, and we're only in episode 1. So let's keep going. The only way is up.
Exactly that. So let's get on to. We'll start the episode off with a conversation about the game that has just passed, which will be Hull. So, can you guys remember anything about the game? Because I'll be honest, 90% of it has gone out of my
I
head.
love squirrels. Can we just
Yeah,
mauled by the tigers? You've been mauled by the squirrels. That's all I'm
yeah,
saying.
exactly. Yeah, definitely that. He's probably our man of the match, let's be honest. So I can't think of anyone more deserving. So I think an early Canary Guys Award of the Week, man of the match for this week, has to go to the Squirrel.
I generally reckon he actually beats Ken Fisher on a 1v1 dash down that right hand side. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
definitely. I mean, he's a pacey boy. He's got good technique. You've seen a powerful runner. Get him signed up, I reckon.
He had some real pace. He really reminded me of Plaheta, but he had
Well, he
some.
had the same amount of end product as Plaheta, to be
Exactly,
fair. So
exactly.
it's similar.
I would have liked to see him get on the ball more, but that's just nitpicking.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the fact that he joined in for the celebration as well. I don't know if anyone saw that.
It was very much a team goal there. Like the dummy run was brilliant, so you have to appreciate when the dummy run is done, and that's what the boys did celebrate with him.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's get on to the other man who I think needs a bit of a shout out and some praise. Is obviously Josh Sargent, who, let's be honest, rescued us a little bit from a bit of a dire situation. We had a poor first half, and he got us back in it, and we were right up there again. Once that goal had gone in, I think we were on top from that point. From what I watched, but yeah, we weren't assured by any means, but we were better. But yeah, Josh Sargent again inspiring that and getting his goal and being right place, right time.
The Ginger Messiah. I love him so much, and we would be absolutely lost without him, which I'm sure we'll get on to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is something that I mentioned I wanted to talk about is just how fucked would we be without Josh Sargent in our squad at all? I know he's been injured for most of the season.
So you need him. I
Yeah.
think the more he does a lot for the team as well, not in terms of scoring the goals, but like he definitely gets involved with that build-up play quite a lot for. Because I remember, like before Johannes came in, you'd never really see him in the build-up. He'd be there right place, right time, which he does now.
Yeah.
Now he's getting involved with that build-up play, and he's probably
Yeah.
the best player in the squad now. I think he's better than Borja. I think
I
he's
do.
more.
I would agree with that. I think a lot of people have hyped Borja up this season, but he's probably a more dynamic player. But he's one of those ones like Sargent, you don't see the work he does off the ball. So it's one of those ones where again you watch him and if you really keep your eyes on him and you just watch him for a game, you'll see a lot of runs he makes off the ball, a lot of turning the defenders, making them move. So it's a lot of work he does off the ball as well as on it. But honestly, I can't imagine a world where we sell Josh Sargent and get anyone who is half as good to replace him, which is a scary thought because let's be honest, when a Premier League club latches on, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a worrying thought. I'm hoping the injury situation keeps people away, but I know there was strong interest in the MLS last season, wasn't there? So if that comes up again, I got a feeling he leaves. But if
Yeah, I
it's not
think
if it's not for the right money, then we have a chance.
was it the same club who signed Latte Lath or not? Because obviously they were interested in, and then they ended up signing Latte Lath for about 20 million or something from Middlesbrough, didn't they? So
I will do
It,
my research.
it
I'll get
might
back
be
to
the
that.
same club. I'm not 100% sure who he was linked with, but I know there was an MLS interest. I think he's far too good to play MLS. I don't care if he's American or not. That league is not Josh Standard quality. Josh Standard quality. Josh Sargent standard. I've combined everything there. Um, so yeah, super Josh Sargent standard quality. Um, but no, he's not a. There would be a waste of talent seeing him in the MLS. Really.
Yeah, it would hurt definitely. I am looking now, and I believe it was St. Louis, which I think was his hometown.
Yeah, and I think Latte Laff has gone to Atlanta, hasn't he? So they're different sides.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, another bit I would quite like to get onto is obviously the assist maker, Kellen Fisher. And I've seen a lot of discourse across Twitter and Instagram and places like that about the debate between sort of whether you go Fisher or Stacey at right back, which I'll be honest has somewhat confused me because I
How was it
don't
a
think
debate?
there is a debate.
Yeah, 100% agree with that, Chris.
Yeah, I don't think there is a debate at all. I think the truth of the matter is that Kellen is by far a more complete player.
Yeah, I agree. And how old is he at? How old is he now? 21, I want to
Yeah,
say.
is he 21? I think he might be 21.
But yeah, at 21, there's so much room to grow. He's only going to get better. And he
The
was
problem is
playing non-league football a
he
season or
still
two
only
ago.
looks 12, doesn't he? So it's
He
really hard
does.
to decipher how old he actually is. So yeah, it's one of those really difficult ones to know how old he is. But he plays with a lot more maturity than a 21-year-old, and actually he's less error prone than Stacey.
And he's actually
Um,
20, so
he's 20.
5th of May 2004.
Ah, there
Just
we go.
actually just 13 days before me. So
There you are. Yeah,
that's made me feel really bad about my footballing career now.
yeah. You're
Bobby age leaked there, by the way, so we'll clip that one up.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I can't understand the debate at all. It seems a little bit silly to me. I think Stacey is probably catching a lot of flack that isn't entirely warranted. I still think he's a solid championship option at right back, and I think going forward he has a lot to offer. But he is defensively poor. Um, in a lot of ways. He's not as solid as Kellen Fisher in a defensive manner. I mean, anyone who can get turned by Manny off YouTube probably shouldn't be involved at right back for Norwich. But it's one of them. I think Stacey, if I'm correct in saying, in his career started out as a right winger
Did he really?
and
It
moved
would make
back to
sense. He has
right back.
pace.
Yeah, and I think that would make sense as to why he's probably more attacking focused and not quite so solid defensively. Because I think again, last season he was one of those players who you didn't really want to take out the squad that much because he made overlapping runs. He was very very good going forward. Um, I think there's a lot to offer there, but I do think that Kellen is the better talent.
Yeah, I think Stacey suited the Wagner play style to a T though,
Yeah,
because it was just full blown attack. It was just vibes. But he's 28 now. He's a very good backup to have. If you look back when we had Aaron's and Sam Byram, I guess was the backup. He's a much
yeah,
better backup than Byram.
of
Mainly because
course,
he's
yeah.
not injured half the time.
I do
But
just want to touch on a little point you just made there, which I think you've just said that Wagner played all out attacking football, and I would like to dispute that.
yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
I'll be honest, that's not what I saw. But no, I understand what you mean because Wagner did play overlapping fullbacks,
It's what we
which
saw in
is
the first two games, which made us all hope. Everyone remembers the Coventry game and the Preston game where we won
yeah,
4-2 and 4-0.
yeah, fantastic games. Yeah,
Gergen
really
Brest, that
enjoyable.
was wonderful. And then it went downhill. So yeah, Wagner, I do love you, but you weren't
This is
all
the
out
thing. I think
attacking.
Wagner was a really nice bloke, but he was not the right man for the job. We know
Yeah.
this for a fact.
He got us to the playoffs, but not the man to get us through them.
No, definitely not. And yeah, it's good that we've got JHG in charge now. I think even though there's a lot of unrest already, I think football fans are really fickle. People get on the manager's back within 2 or 3 defeats. I am nowhere near JHT out by any stretch of the imagination. I agree with the fact that it's a project. I think we need to build on it. Admittedly, we've had a few lackluster performances which don't inspire massive amounts of confidence. But we can be better. We can definitely be better. We can improve. But I think JHT is probably the right man to lead it.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I've never seen an injury crisis this bad.
No, well, that was another thing we wanted to touch on is the midfield situation. How unlucky can we get with central midfielders?
9%. I do think some of it is luck, but it's also like when the conversations were said that we were going to bring Johannes in, we knew this would be high intensity. So there's definitely an argument there where you could have brought 1 or 2 midfielders because they're up and down the pitch. They attack, they defend.
My problem with that is I don't disagree. Like I always say, like squad depth is good, bodies are good, but you do when all of those midfielders are fit. Fuck me, we have some depth in centre midfield. Like if they were all fit and they're all there, it's the level of crisis that we've had in that midfield. Like we probably have 6 or 7 players who could competently play that centre mid role somewhere. They're different types of players, admittedly, but you could say so. You could play Forson there. Schwartau can technically play there. Marcondes can play there. You've got Nunes, McLean. Now you've got Jacob Wright coming in, and well, I mean, including Sorensen might be a bit of a cheat. Slimane. That's
Yeah.
8 or 9 players I've named there, who all of them could do somewhat of a job across that midfield three.
But it's like what you said before. Like some players need time to adapt. So
Oh yeah,
maybe I think Kenny's obviously brilliant. We talk about Kenny all day.
yeah.
Mark Condes is slotted in well, but that's because he's used to English football.
Mm.
Sorensen, the less said, the better. Donkey of the lifetime, we could argue for him.
Don't give the season, and it's not even finished yet.
Slimane, he's had Premier League, has had English football experience. He played a couple of good games of the Prem for Sheffield United last year. Liam Gibbs is always injured, so no comment to him. Nunes has been here
Yeah,
for
I
a
forgot
couple
to
of
even
years.
mention him.
Forster and Mank is somebody who's new to the country, so there's obviously gaps in there, which makes sense. And this is why this season is not. Yes, I think Norwich can make the playoffs, but if we don't make him, it's not like we've had a bad season. It's because we're getting these players used to it.
No,
And
but
Jacob Wright, I know he's playing in England his whole life, but he's not had a lot of first team appearances. And like you said, Schwartau is very much a player who is definitely been one of the more consistent performers who's came in this year.
yeah,
And it's definitely done a good job, in my opinion.
but let's hypothetically, we have no injuries. All our players have been fit the whole season. Where do we finish in this league
With no injuries,
with the squad that we've got now?
second to fourth were between there, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I was going to say I think we come fourth. I think we're comfortably playoffs with no injuries.
I think Sargent is the biggest one. Now that he's back.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. For me, he's the most important player in our side now because of like I say, the amount of work he does, the goals he gets, all that sort of thing. But I think if you have a fully fit midfield and you have consistently McLean, Nunes in there, and then maybe a Slimane or a Marcondes or someone like that, you have them in there constantly. I don't think there's a few teams that even at full strength who are above us, I don't think would be.
I'm the same. I mean, we looked really good against Sheffield United and Leeds early in the season, and that
Yeah,
was with pretty much a full squad. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm thinking the same, fourth to sixth. But I
I
think
think we're comfortably playoffs.
closer points wise to first and second.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I just think we have been so unlucky with the injuries, and not just injuries, but we spoke about it a little bit on the last podcast. Like all the things that JSG has had to deal with across the time here. Like all of the players walking out on him and demanding not to play at the start of the season,
It's
Johnny
been grim,
Rowe,
isn't it?
uh, and all the injury crisis and the suspensions and all of this sort of thing. It's been such a troubling season for him. So it's so challenging that you don't want to make excuses for a manager, but I do feel a little bit sorry that he's getting pressure from some Norwich fans, because I feel like it's a little bit early to start chucking that on him when he's been through the amount of stuff he has.
Yeah, I don't get the criticism at all. I think with the plan that has been outlined in multiple interviews now, I think giving him at least until the end of next season is not lo- it is fair. And if you're criticising him beforehand, I think end of next season, if we're not in the playoffs, there's a discussion to be had. But before then, there's no discussion. He's the man. He has a track record of improving youth. He has a track record of improving the teams that he manages. So yeah,
Yeah, I completely agree. And look at the youth players he's already brought through this year. In Mahovo, Fisher looks twice the player he was last year. There, there's big changes there, and the average age of the squad has come rocketing down as well. You can see it. We've turned over players who are on bigger wages, who are the wrong side of 30. We go in the right direction, and as much as we keep hearing this, oh, it's a rebuild or it's a project for the future, people are impatient and will want results now. And I'm the same. Like, I do want something now. It can't all be about the rebuild. But there are, you can make allowances for it when there's been that much change in the club.
I understand the people like, oh, they want results now. Like, it's obviously there's been a lot of changes, but the like if you compare our starting 11 to what we had last year under Wagner, some of the players that most of the players are the same players who made the playoffs. There's obviously a level of expectations, and I think that's also the media expectations of us. Like, we did this last year, we can do it again. But that isn't the case. Like, it is a completely different system here. I think we've got a good thing building. I do think. I think when we go back to Oxford at home, no, sorry, Oxford away, first game of the season, we was like flipping out. It's gonna be a long year, and then we started building a lot, and we were in a good challenge for them playoff spots, and we was like, oh, okay, maybe we've underestimated it here, and we've been back in this back and forth bit, and I think that's why fans are impatient. They don't know what is actually going to come for us. It's just we've been here, we've been there. Where's the middle ground for Norwich?
yeah, that's a fair point. Like I was going to say, like if you after watching that Oxford game, if somebody told me we would finish between 7th and 12th, I would have taken it because that was god awful.
I think the other problem we get as well as Norwich fans is we're quite prone to latching on to one or two results. And we've had points during this season where we've played games where we've been untouchable, and taken teams apart at points. When we've been firing on all cylinders and the plan goes to plan, and we play the style of play that JHT wants, and it all comes together, we take teams to pieces. And the problem is when you do that once, they expect it every week, and it's not going to happen. That's not how football works. So it's one of those things that fan expectation goes up, and you get to the point where you can only disappoint those fans.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that to be fair. After like the whole performance and the whole at home performance, not away, whole at home and then Watford straight after or before, I can't remember. But those two performances, everyone was thinking we're going up, we're winning the league. But yeah, it's more difficult than that. And then you have the caveats to the season. You have the injuries. You have the oversleeping. You have the random curveballs that have been thrown in the season. And then you
Yeah.
understand why we're not where we should be, or where fans think we should be, at least.
Yeah, it's been a crazy season for stuff like that, hasn't it? It's been one of those seasons where just everything seems to have happened, and I don't really understand how everything's happened at once. But
Yeah, it's been insane. Name it, the amount of random things that has happened. You've had Rowe, you've had Ida, you've had Three injury crises, and that's just midfield.
Yeah, I was going to say 3 at least.
You're also missing someone else you want to leave who's actually a brilliant player, definitely. Abu Kamara wanted to go, even though he had half a good season in League One, he thought he was better than Norwich.
I don't know about brilliant player.
I was being sarcastic there
Yeah,
because,
I was going to say, I feel like I actually rated him when I
yeah,
thought he was going to
100%,
come and
but
play for us. But
he had
what I've
half a
seen
good season
afterwards,
in League
I've
One and then
watched him
thinks
and
he's the
gone,
bee's knees.
we probably. The truth of the matter is, in terms of the transfer market, in terms of the players we turned over, we've actually done really well. Because as much as we lost those players, the only one we did badly on was Sarah because we didn't sell him for enough money, and I will say that right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Sarah was a £30 million player minimum in my head. He is again one of the most talented players I've ever seen at Norwich. So he in today's market should have been a £30 million player. Doesn't matter. It's all in the past now. And when you're getting fees as big as we did for players like Adamida, you can't complain because we took Celtic for an absolute ride on that one.
We robbed them, didn't we? The amount of Ben Napper love there was after that. I mean,
Yeah,
he scored in the Champions League once or twice.
I think he scored 2, didn't he? But at the end of the day, he's not been anywhere near the levels that they would want of him.
Yeah, all we
And
have to look at is the Celtic Twitter page, and he scored 7 goals in 22 matches so far,
yeah,
which for
which
9 million is not good. But
to
then
be fair, that's better than what he did for us normally. So
but then you say that 9 million, 7 goals isn't good in the Scottish league, but then you have
no,
Ante
that's true.
Cernach who has scored similar. But then you have questions: is the Championship better than the Scottish League?
I don't even think that's a debate in my head. The Scottish League literally has 2 teams that are like low Premier League quality to high Championship, and then the rest of them are League One.
Yeah, Ante Cernach has 5 goals, 3 assists in 31 appearances. So
And let's be honest, a lot of those appearances are going to be off the bench as well.
yeah, exactly. I must add, Abu Kamara, he covered really the bench so well. Just incredible performance on Saturday.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I'd love to see his heat map.
as someone who still has in my room a massive, I'd say 3 foot tall at least Abu Kamara dressing room sign, I really wish he came good, but and for Norwich, but of course not. And
No, well, I think the money we got for him on
yeah,
deadline day,
it was
he
good.
is good money, and he hasn't set the world on fire at Hull, has he? Let's be honest. In fact, they hated him.
Speaking of fire, I do need to figure out what to do with this dressing room board. So if anyone has any ideas, whether it's burn it, whether it's make it into a coffee table,
Why
please
don't we have it as a
comment.
dartboard? Can have a Canary Guys dartboard out of it.
Out of Kamara's face, that's a bit abusive, isn't it?
Oi, oi, oi!
Yeah, absolutely. No, like straight between the eyes is a bullseye. Line it up.
You know what? That's an art project. I might do that.
Yeah, that's fine. So we'll look forward to in the coming weeks seeing your Canary Guys dartboard
And then the
with a
subsequent cancellation of me for
effigy of Abu Kamara on.
yeah.
Anyway,
Whilst
that
we're on
I
the
think
topic of
that's
overrated players, can I also say something?
yeah.
So, obviously, whilst we're recording this, Leeds are currently hosting Sunderland in the Championship.
Yep.
Is this Enzo Lafie kid actually good? Because I just don't see anything in him. Like,
Oh,
maybe it's just me.
I've watched him
I
a
just,
little bit, and he is quite tidy.
What
but
was
like,
Lafie Sunderland paid?
I think it's a loan to buy, isn't it?
Luffy, ha 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 ha.
Oh, I've just caught what you did there. Fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible jokes. Um, no, to be
But like,
honest, I do have a friend who's a Sunderland fan. Quite a close friend of mine. Shout out P Don, legend of Twitter. I'm hoping you'll all know him. And he does rate Lefay very, very highly. So Yeah, he does. I watched him, and he does seem pretty good, but does he seem as good as the hype? It's a bit of a question. So, um, yeah, I guess we'll see when they play us again.
Friendship trophy on the line. That's a very important game.
Yeah, Friendship Trophy is always a massive one. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Anyway, I think that's enough of talking about that mediocre whole game because that is about all we can squeeze out of that performance. There wasn't really a lot. It was sort of Hull did a job on us in the first half, and then we played all right in the second half. I mean, there's one more thing I would like to talk about is how on earth did Borja Sainz not score?
I want to rant about Borja, but I fear I might get pelters if I do. But
No, let's speak your mind, man.
he
That's,
hasn't performed well. I mean, I get it. He hasn't played a game of football after his ban. Well, during his ban for 6 games, which is however many weeks. But he's off it, and he was off it before the ban as well. And
yeah,
I'm thinking, was it a flash in the pan thing? It can't have been because he was so good at the start of the season.
yeah. I think it's
It's
definitely in there, but I think the problem is, and I think I seem to remember I touched on this the last podcast, is that is it starting to go to his head a little bit?
I think it's very similar to Rowe last season.
Because he's seems to be making a lot of solo runs and trying to do everything for himself, and that's good. It's good to have a player that can do that, but when it becomes the norm every time he picks the ball up,
Yeah.
it's starting to get a little bit worrying.
A little bit of behind the scenes for the viewers. Me and Ashton were watching the game together, and I every time Borja got the ball, I was just pass it, Borja, pass it, Borja, pass it, and he wouldn't pass it. And there was a lot of Jeff Man rage in that clip. I'm sure Ashton will confirm. I was pissed.
Honestly, generally, we was like, we'll get a bit of practicing because we have some future ideas and good 90 minutes there. I think it's nice when two people go through the same depressing football that what we had to go through, and I think Borja did not add to the case. I think when he missed that goal, hit the post when we're 1-1, 3 points are vital at any point in the season, let alone the stage where you're fighting for the playoffs. We were very much very upset. And there was also another bit where the balls came into him, he's came in field, he's gone round free, and we're like, just release it, and then he gets fouled. Like, don't really want to foul, but when we're all about making a chance from players dragging in, you can't just give a foul away because you've not dragged him in now. You've dragged him in, play it to the other wing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do think he needs to learn that he does have teammates and he can pass the ball to them. And that's, and even earlier at the start of the season when he was playing as he was and he was on fire, he was passing. He was passing the ball. He was getting the ball into the box. He was, he was linking up well with players, and that's why he was getting his goals because he was able to link up. Whereas now he looks like he has almost no trust in a lot of our team, and he's just trying to do it himself.
Yeah, I remember so many of his goals at the start of the season. I think even like link ups with Ashley Barnes. It was neat 1-2s. It was neat um like passes on the corner of the box, and then he'd run inside and then shoot and score, and it's just pass, please, Borja. My mental stability depends on it.
Absolutely agree. What about Eurosec? First start for the team. I think he had good moments again. He didn't set the world on fire, but he did have promising moments. I think he will be a good player for us.
Yeah, he looks bright. He looks pacey. I'm looking forward to him hopefully starting again on Saturday against Stoke. But again, you look at that front three: Signs, Sargent, Jurasek. That is a solid front three for even top two
That's a
contention.
promotion winning front
Exactly.
three
Yeah.
easily. If Eurosec plays at the potential that we see him playing at there, I mean, there was a moment against Hull where he made a run into the box and he got past two or three players and then crossed it across the box and there was no one on the back stick to knock it in. But them little flashes. He does look positive. He seems like he always wants to go forward, which again I discussed this on the last pod, but a lot of our wingers have notorious ability to turn around and check back when they're on a run, which winds the ever-loving shit up out of me. So it's one of those things. But yeah, we've seen some good signs out of him so far, and I want him to link up with signs, pardon the pun, and get going.
I mean, like me and Robbie said, we was watching that game together on Saturday, and it was very much. You could tell when Eurosec was on the ball, you just hear me going, "Oh my god, we've got Messi here, we've got Messi." Here. And honestly, he's played about what? How much did he play the other day? Did he play about?
He made about a 10 or 15-minute cameo in the week.
Yeah, and then what, like 60 minutes, 70 minutes on Saturday?
Something like that. Was it? I think it was
So
about 60, wasn't it?
yeah, so let's just say he's played just under a full match for Norwich City, and I love this guy more than what I love myself. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he definitely is showing promising signs. So yeah, we're very hopeful for him and that he can carry on the upward trajectory. Yeah, I think that pretty much summarises that whole game. I think we've milked everything out of it that we possibly can because, let's be honest, aside from a squirrel running onto the pitch, it was quite meh.
Yeah, agreed. It was forgettable. That's the word for it.
So, of course, we now move on to our segments of the week, our awards. They're coming up soon. But, of course, we have to kick it off, as always, with the Jeffman Sausage Roll review, which unfortunately isn't coming to you from the ground today. But we do have a little something for you.
Of course, I wouldn't leave you guys without a sausage roll review. So yeah, no Carrow Road game. Hopefully I'll get to go to some away games at some point so I can sample other ground sausage rolls. I've heard good things about Tottenham's, but I'm guessing it's gonna be a while until we play them. But no, so I went out earlier today to town in Lowestoft. I live in Lowestoft. Please, no one come and murder me or anything. But Hyles Bakery in Lowestoft, I'll overlay a picture on the screen. They do everything. They do full English breakfasts. They do cakes. They do sausage rolls. They do pastries. It's phenomenal. And sausage roll, I do have a question for you at the end of this, but I got a cold sausage roll. I had the option of a hot one, but I got a cold one. And crumbs,
Interesting call.
yeah, I'll ask you guys about that in a minute. But crumbs to bite, perfect. It was the pastry was soft, but had a few crumbs, so there was something to eat after eating a sausage roll in about 2 minutes. Taste was excellent. Appearance was class. I didn't get a picture, unfortunately, but it was a good sausage roll, and it's probably my favourite in Lowestoft. So, anyone from Hyles Bakery in Lowestoft, if you hear this, please, please, please feel free to sponsor us and give me sausage rolls free for life.
He will review them every week as well, so you're going to get an incredible amount of promotion for your business. So yeah, we're working on the Jeff Man sausage roll sponsorship. So yeah, we'll get into it. But any sausage roll based companies that want to get in touch, let us know, and we'll promo you every week.
Exactly. But yes, back onto that question. Do you prefer your sausage rolls or pastries hot or cold? Because I think I've gone off Greg's, but Greg's sausage rolls are better in the 4-pack cold than they are hot.
Oh, I can't agree with that. I
It's
can't
a,
agree.
it's a really out there take, I know. But
I'm a hot sausage roll man all the way.
I'm gonna
yeah,
have to be honest. I'm cold. I need all my pastries cold. I'm a cold man. I got to say it. I'm cold for the win.
good to hear that. It's really good
Don't
to hear that.
don't get me wrong. I'll eat a pastry cold. I'm more than happy, and they like Greg's sausage rolls still taste real nice cold. Like there's nothing wrong with them. But I am if I've got the option, I'm getting it hot.
Yeah, I mean, I had the option today, but last time I had the option, I, I just chose cold because it was quicker and I had a train to catch. But it was just better. It was juicier. I don't know why we're getting so in depth from these sausage roll reviews. I'm thinking we're gonna go Gordon Ramsay territory of like food criticism here, but
What? Where I just scream "fuck off" at you down the mic?
please feel free. But it was a really good sausage roll, and I know, talking about food related businesses, The Unthanked Kitchen is a follower of our Twitter account. If you're
Yeah.
listening to this, if you want to brew up a sausage roll for me, I'm in Norwich every Thursday or every match day. Please let me know.
We would like to at some point pop down to the Unthanked Kitchen and potentially do a live sausage roll review on pod, which would be excellent. But we'll work on that. We'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, shout out to the Unthanked Kitchen for the follow. That was magnificent news to hear. Anyway, it's now time to move on to our Canary Guys Awards of the week. This is our new feature that we obviously do every week from now on. The awards can change. There could be some long-termers that are going to stay. But we're going to start off with last week's fan favourite, which is Canary Cooler of the Week. This week, I mean, if you thought last week was a clear winner, this week was even better. Because immediately it was put straight into our group chat as soon as everyone heard it. And I mean, boys, again, there was only one winner, wasn't there?
He was the true epitome of Norfolk. I loved him.
If you wanted to know what Norfolk sounds like in about 1 minute 50, this is the man. So congratulations, Dale. You have won this week's Canary Cooler of the Week. Let's hear his top analysis now, and we'll hear exactly what he had to say about that performance.
Who's hopefully going to cheer us up a bit, Dale.
No, I'm sorry, not today.
Oh, Dale, you let me down, mate.
I'm not going to say anything today. I didn't want this manager right from the start, because all he was on about was the future, bringing players in for the future. I don't want to know about the future. I want to know what's going on now. If you were doing your job, you said you're not going to do your job until a month's time, your manager will kick you out. And why do you keep taking... Yes, people keep saying about Joel Sargent getting took off. Why bring... Like the other night you took him off and put Duffy up front in the rest of the game. Sargent wouldn't have to have a game until next Saturday. I know you got... But Nunes came straight back into the team the other week and now we lost him again. All I'm saying is, I don't make this manager at all, and there's no way, I'm telling you now, there's no way we're getting in the playoffs, because the fifth team has got 51, we're 4 points behind the fourth team, and I'm always backing Norwich, but this is the worst team I've seen for years at Norwich. They go ups and downs, ups and downs.
Dale, it's not like you're always sort of on the air of positive, aren't you? But you really don't rate Johannes Torp, Dale.
No, I don't know. I wait for the start. I wish we had an experienced manager come in. People used to moan at Robert Wagner last year, but at least he got some results. My best manager, people laugh at me about this, because I used to be born football, they say, but Chris Hughton, I still reckon, would have kept us up that year. He got the sack. McAnally promised that if we weren't in the bottom three, he would not sack him, but we had a bad game against West Brom, and people threw all these ticket things at him, and he sacked them. I think Chris Hughton got the dirty on. That's only my point of view, but I'm saying I don't rate this manager at all. I don't want to know about the future. I want to know what's happening now. And not the next game, but it will be the next game now. But Joel Sargent is our main striker. He don't want to come off. Why keep resting the blue? Yeah.
And there you are. That is sheer tactical genius. Robert Wagner, he's gone, unfortunately, but we should never have got rid of Chris Hughton. So there you are. That's what I've taken from that interview. It's a shame Robert Wagner had to go, but there you go. To the managers we've lost, and the ones that Dale doesn't love. So yeah, it's time to move on to the next segment. We've got interview of the week this week. So obviously new feature. And again, this one was brought to my attention by Robbie. It was posted in our chat pretty quickly after it happened. And it's obviously a Norwich City legend who has won this award this week. Chris Gorham, congratulations, because you have won Interview of the Week for what can only be described as an interview with the man of the match of the game.
With what I'm delighted to say is a world exclusive. Johannes Torp said he had to catch up with that squirrel to take him back to Norwich. Well, our man Chris Gorham, he did catch up with the squirrel, and here is a world exclusive interview with tonight's hero.
Well, Cyril, thanks for joining us. That was a terrific performance at the start of the second half. Just talk us through the goal from your point of view. There's been some suggestion from the Norwich City manager that you might be one of the squirrels that actually lives in his garden, and you travelled with him and it was some kind of ploy. What would you say to those very serious allegations? Cyril the Squirrel, thanks very much for joining us.
That was just incredible from the BBC Radio Norfolk guys. It was just so unexpected. I saw about it on Twitter, so I thought, okay, what's happening? And then I went on to it, and I didn't expect that. It was just so out of the blue, and it was quality interview work as well, asking the real top questions. I also heard that Chris Gorham also asked about the squirrel, Cyril for Squirrel, as it is named. But yeah, it was quality, and that is probably the best interview we're going to get in a long time.
It's just a top Super Chrissy G moment, isn't it, really?
That is why I love him. And I'll get onto that
Exactly
later
that.
on.
Right then, so moving on, we have got another new segment. It is going to be facial hair of the week. This is a very late entrant because this only happened today, but there was a clear winner. And it is this man, who I'm sure my colleague Robbie will have overlaid on screen by this point so we can all see it, who was at the JHT signing session, who we are hypothesising may or may not be Canary Jerry.
I think he's got to be, right?
It has to be, surely.
Yellow and green.
Only Jerry could pull that off.
And it was the hair as well. It wasn't just the
whole
facial hair.
look.
The entirety of it
whole look. I mean, look at the detail. Look at the incredible care and attention that this man has taken to his grooming.
You have to wonder how long that took.
It must have taken hours. It's incredible work, and he simply has to win facial hair of the week.
Yeah, it's really well deserved. Well done to you. I don't know his name, but looking at that facial hair, the dedication to Norfolk, you got to reckon his name's something very Norfolk-like.
Canary Jerry.
Canary Jerry. There you go,
That is his
Jerry.
name. He's called Canary Jerry.
Your first ever feature on the podcast.
Well done, Canary Jerry. He will probably feature later on. He's got a few things to add to this podcast. He did ask some questions on our Twitter. Obviously, if you want to be included in the podcast, you want your point of view across. We do post before every episode to get your points in. So anything you want to suggest, we're more than open to it. So time to move on now to a couple of Twitter-based segments. So this week we had a Twitter question of the week, which was put out as a poll on Twitter. I did this earlier. Now, I thought for this week's question, this sort of arose from a bit of a chat within our group chat. It went a little bit silly, but that's what we're all about here. So this week's question was, would you rather be attacked by 100 duck-sized Jose Cordobas or one Jose Cordoba-sized duck? And I can tell you officially that 71.4% of you would like to be attacked by one Cordoba-sized duck. And it's 28.6% of you in that case that would like to have 100 duck-sized Cordobas attack you. We do also have some comments on this one. So we've got Kieran, Kieran2918, who has said 100 duck-sized rocks. I just used some paper. So yeah, classic rock, paper, scissors based joke there. And we've got Art Mixer in the comments as well, who has put, just kick the duck-sized Cordobas, could probably take out 10 in a kick.
It's a fair point, but I must say I have put in a lot of analysis into my answer for this question.
Yeah, I was going to say we should probably all answer this question, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I've put in a load of thought. So, do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
So, my answer would be 100 duck-sized Cordobas.
Okay.
If you think of his oversleeping issues, I'm putting my whole faith in the fact that they're all asleep, all ducks are asleep, so I can just get some sort of big stamping thing and just kill them all in one swoop.
The big stamping thing.
Big stamp. You know.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I know that isn't as much analysis as I said that there was, but
In-depth analysis there from Jeff, man.
that's what you get on this podcast.
Yeah. Ashton, have you got anything to weigh in on the duck-sized Cordoba or Cordoba-sized duck debate?
I have, and I am a firm believer of one Cordoba-sized duck.
Okay, do you want to give us some cutting analysis as to why that might be?
So, I just think it's only the size of Cordoba here. It's not got the same IQ as Cordoba, and I reckon I outsmart a duck. So, I would trick this duck into going into like some cage. Like, I'll make it like in the movies that you walk it somewhere and then a cage goes on top of it.
Have you got a Cordoba-sized cage available?
Yeah, this is a bit concerning.
What are you using a Cordoba-sized cage for?
Let's just say the reason why Cordoba did not oversleep that one time, we had some good words. I want a bit more analysis about Norwich, and I think Jose's the best man to do it for because he can speak every language on the planet near enough.
This is true. This is true. He's a nice man as well. So yeah, I suppose for our side of things, then I get the deciding vote. Which I'm going to be honest, it's a tough call. But I have a bit of a fear of lots of small things coming at me, so I think it would have to be one duck-sized. No, not one duck-sized Cordoba. That would be great. One Cordoba-sized duck, because I think it'd be easier to try and fight one thing than lots of little things coming at you at once. You can just focus all your energy on the one.
The issue is ducks are quite vicious. Whenever I've
Yes,
seen
I
a
know.
duck, like if I'm feeding a duck, they get right on you. They're like nipping your fingers and everything. Cordoba isn't that bad. I know he's got 2 red cards this season, or 1,
Yeah,
or
but you've
any.
got to think Cordoba's a little beast, right? So
Yeah, but I'm thinking 100 Cordobas. I think you can just get them if you offer them some food. They'll just chill, and then you can relax. You wouldn't have to even fight them.
do you reckon you could lead them into the unthanked kitchen?
100%.
Yeah, you could lead all of the duck-sized Cordobas into the Unthanked Kitchen for a bit of scram. Unthanked Kitchen, I'm giving you a lot of free promo here. But yeah, so that's that debate settled then. We, as a whole, have gone for one Cordoba-sized duck, and the Twitter poll agrees. I'm going to hand it over to Ashton now because I believe you are going to introduce our tweet of the week.
Yes, tweet of the week. We was going to do it last year, but we had a false
Last
entry.
year,
No, last episode. Sorry, but false entry. So this week's first tweet of the week winner is Adam Savory. His tweet reads: I've already sent the tweet in ready for it to be edited, but I'll read the tweet out. Love all the idiotic people that suddenly have a degree in sports science and physiotherapy regarding the situation of Sargent being looked after. I mean, you can't get any more sarcastic if you tried, really, could you?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, all those people who do have a degree in sports science, I don't think you need a degree in sports science to know that Sargent can play a 90, but there you go.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I'm hoping he plays the full 90 on Saturday.
Oh, I
I
think we
think,
all are. I think he's
yeah.
so crucial to us. Do you know, like late in a game when you're chasing and you need a goal, he is the man you need there, not Ante Cernat.
When we brought on Cernach, it was difficult. Again, there were some of those movements where if Sargent's there, he puts it in the goal. And
Yeah,
then,
I think we win that game if Sargent stays for the full 90.
there was one weird movement where the ball was behind Cernach, I think. So it's just about timing the runs. And again, if Sargent's on there, he tucks that in 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ashton, you got any other honourable mentions for tweets, or does that about cover it?
I think that about covers it. We had a one that I wish I found it last week, but we didn't. It was basically just saying that a player runs into Mahavo, a Preston player runs into Mahavo, Preston foul, make it make sense. So I think that was an honourable mention. But it was
Yeah,
obviously
that's
from last
fair
week.
enough. We can put it in as an honourable mention from last week. That's not a problem at all. Yeah, absolutely fine then. So, all that leads now is your Twitter questions and suggestions. So the things that we've been tweeted. Unfortunately, we haven't been tweeted much this week, but our good friend the Canary Jerry has given us something to think about. So I will get his tweet up and we'll have a little look. So Canary Jerry has asked us if you could get any local pressers or personalities linked to the club, so this is non-playing or staff, who would it be and why? You need a top 10. Now, 10 is quite difficult to do. So what we've decided to do is we're going to do 3 each. And then for the final one, we're all going to agree on somebody. So I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm going to start off. I'll happily start off with this one because it's nice and easy for me. I'm going to go for 3 of my favourite personalities around the club. I'm going to go for Totally Teddy, who is a good friend and would be a lovely podcast guest. Obviously, the famous edits. I'm sure you're all aware of the man. I'm going to go for Liz Truss, who's not a good friend, but would just be really funny to get on. And I'm intrigued to know what drew her to the club.
That would be really interesting.
It would be an extremely interesting podcast to do. And I'd also like to have Diane on, and everyone knows the reasons for that.
Yeah, fair enough. Mine, I've taken the non-playing or staff, as in current playing or staff. Obviously, the first 2 don't count, but Chris Gorham, just because however many years commenting on Norwich City, so many
Yeah.
stories to tell, so many games, so many
Agreed.
moments, and just the background behind everything about commentary and radio. So it's a sector I'd like to get into myself, so it'll be really interesting to hear his thoughts on that. Secondly would be any one of the Pinken lads, just because they seem to like me. God knows why. And then lastly, it would be Stuart Webber, just to hear his view on how he left the club, if he'd change anything, if
That
he'd
would
change.
be an explosive podcast,
It
to
would
say the
be
least.
a great podcast.
Unbelievable. Right, Ashton.
Yeah, so my 3 here, I have gone with Chris Reeve. Big fan of Chris Reeve and the Talk Norwich City lads. So him or Jack, they count as one because it's one collective. Then I'd go Mike Atanasio. I think that'd be class to hear from him. And then third, but not least, is Brian Gunn.
Yeah, some really good shouts there. Big fan of the Reeves, and obviously the other 2 guests as well. Fantastic people. I don't think we've got a bad one there. But obviously that leaves us with 1 slot. Now we discussed this before the show, and we thought we'd come up with a joint one that we'd all like on. So lads, I think time to reveal it, don't you? It's the Canary Jerry. It has to be Jerry. He needs to come on. We need to learn about his backstory. We need to know some things about him.
I want to know if he's real, firstly.
Yeah, I want to know more about the man. He is a man of mystery, and he intrigues me.
And just like a 5-minute segment on how he gets that moustache so yellow and green.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've uncovered his identity in this episode, so now we just need to know about the man behind the mask, or behind the Twitter picture, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, good shout.
Right, that ends the Canary Guys Awards segment for this week. So I think we can now move on to the next game, which is Stoke.
Yeah, really looking forward to this one. This game has a bit of meaning to me for some personal reasons, which do not need to be discussed on the pod. But yeah, looking really forward to that. I think this is a good chance here for Johannes and the players to prove that there's still a bit of fight in the team here. I mean, 3 lacklustre performances, and hopefully we can go out there and get a good result. I am going to go there. A 3-0 prediction. I'm going to be generous.
Oh, that is brave.
Very brave. Like Ashton says, it'll be a good chance to make things right. It will also be nice to see Cordoba, as long as he's not still a dark by this point, with Doyle being suspended for 2 games. I'm thinking it will be closer, but I'm thinking it will be 2-1. and the one goal for Stoke is Ben Gibson.
Yeah, that seems like it's likely to happen, doesn't it? It's always an ex-Norwich player. It always happens. Yeah, I think again, I agree with you two. We need a performance. They need to respond. I think it'll be a gritty game. Stoke set up well. They've got a good manager now in there, so they're looking up from where they were previously. I do think they're a decent side, if not spectacular. I think it'll be a little bit scrappy, but I do believe the boys will get the win. I'm going to say 2-1 also.
Obviously, we have not heard Johannes' interview this week, so we do not know who is available. But do we want to talk about predicted lineups that we want to see?
Yeah, we'll give it a go.
Does anyone want to go first, or do we want me to take the lead on this?
You can go for it, mate, because I'm still
So,
thinking.
I've gone Gun in goal, but like I said not last year. Why do you want to say last year? Last week's pod. Reyes, I'm not against a Reyes start. Fisher right back, Duffy centre back, alongside Jose Cordoba. I think Doyle being suspended is a good chance for Cordoba to step up here. Mahavo left back. I'm going to take the punt on Kenny to be back, so I've gone with a midfield three of Kenny, Wright and Slimane, and a front three of Sainz, Sargent and Jurasek.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I'm thinking very similar. Again, gun and goal. Fisher right back, Duffy and Cordoba, and then Mahovo. I think Nunes will also be back, but I think it would be way too early to put him back in after his bout of injuries. I think McLean will be back also though, so I'm thinking the same. It would be McLean, Wright, and Slimani, and then front three of Sainz, Jurasek, and Sargent.
I'm going to go a touch different, but I do almost agree with you entirely. So I would like to say it'll be gun in goal, of course. We'll have, so I'm going to go Fisher, Duffy, Cordoba, Mahovo. The midfield is where the debate is because obviously we don't know where the injuries are going to be, but I would expect Kenny to be back. So I'm going to say Kenny. I'm going to agree with you actually. I'm going to say Wright and Slimane. Here's where I'm going to get controversial because I reckon it'll be Sainz, Sargent, and I reckon he drops Jurasek for Dobbin.
Any reason, or just because?
I just think tactically, I think the only reason he didn't start Dobbin against Hull, if we're being honest, is fitness. I think he's had a bit of a rest. I think he'll bring him back in and try and make a bit of an impact that way. I think Dobbin was playing so well for us, you struggle not to put him in the side.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I'd argue maybe Jurasek, although he hasn't got an assist or a goal yet, I'd argue his performances have been better than Sainz's so far.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. And if I was picking the team, I'd be picking Dobbin and Jurasek.
Yeah, same.
But I'm going off a JHT perspective, and I do think he will pick Sainz.
Yep, good shout.
Brilliant stuff. Right. Just a quick reminder then, so towards the end of the pod now, about the competitions that we've got going on because yeah, we've not had many entries as of yet, and we will repost this on Twitter afterwards. We'll get all the content out there. I actually didn't announce last time how you could win my Canary Jester hat. There will be another overlay on screen just to remind everybody of what we're playing for. I am going to put out, so across Twitter, keep your eyes on it. I will put out a Norwich City quiz question, which will be a question about the club. It could be anything related to players or anything like that. I will pick out a question within the next couple of days, so keep your Twitter notifications on. I'll put that question out. One of the people who comments underneath with the correct answer will win the Canary Jester hat. As I say, promotion parade worn. Playoff parade. Imagine if we had a parade celebrating that we got the playoffs. But
That would
yeah, I
be
will.
elite.
Yeah, it would. It would be incredible. Yeah, we got playoffs. Woo! Woo!
And then lose 4-0 to Leeds in the second
Yeah,
leg.
and then
Last minute.
yeah, lose to Leeds. But yeah, it will be given out to someone who gets that question correct, plain and simple. So get your questions, get your answers in, get your questions in, get your answers in, and we'll go from there.
And like I said in last week's pod, if you want to win a Norwich City shirt Lego set, please put in your worst personalised shirt. I did put my Zola shirt from the 21-22 season on there. So I'd like to see if you've got any worse than that Zola shirt, but let us know by sending it on Twitter.
I will repost that tweet to make sure that everyone is aware, and then we'll get it out there, and hopefully we're going to see some horrific shirt printings, because that's what we're all in it for, really.
We also had the worst competition of the podcast, which is to win one very, very small, but it is one of a kind. Well, one of 12 Jeffman 98 stickers.
Exactly
All you have to
limited.
do, is reply with your favourite place to eat a sausage roll.
Yep, absolutely. So I'll get that tweeted out, and then everyone can put underneath it favourite place to eat a sausage roll, and we'll get that all sorted. So 3 competitions there, some good little prizes for you to win. Hopefully, just a bit of fun, and we'll go from there. But I think that pretty much rounds out the podcast, boys.
Yeah, brilliant one. Thanks for tuning in, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for all the support again. We look forward to seeing you all next week when we've smashed Stoke, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and then we'll be all negative this week, saying, playoffs it's doable, but not happening. And then we'll go beat Stoke 3-0. We'll be like, playoffs are unguaranteed. I love this fan base sometimes, but let's get into it.
Yeah.
Beat Stoke 3-0.
Yeah, we can go from absolutely depressed to pure elation in 2 seconds, and that is the Norwich way. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening again for some reason.